Good evening, folks. This is episode 18 of How to Find Your Superpower, Autism and Asperger's, and Neurodiverse People, how they can help find their superpowers. So, this I'm going to be talking about could be a weakness, which is filling out forms. Um, do you have problems filling out forms? Um, have you ever thought about that you may be overthinking about what the form is looking for? And sometimes the forms are not actually written well because they're asking for too much information. Does the form keep on going on and on and on and on and never tell you when it's going to end? It may be a badly written form, but the idea is that you need to slow down and you need to figure out what do they want, why do they want it, why are you filling this out, do you need to fill this out, um, what are you going to get once you fill it out. So just like the last video, what I was talking about is you got to figure out why you're doing something. So you're not obligated to do everything that people ask you to do, but you got to look at the risk versus the reward. What are you going to be rewarded for filling out this form? What is the risk and what are the penalties if you don't fill out the form? If you don't do your taxes, you're going to get penalized. Plus, you could get audited as well. So, are you going to fill out the form? Do you need to? Uh, and how are you going to fill it out? Is it, do you need to fill it out all at once, or can you just chunk it down and fill out one page at a time and put it on hold? And will it save your information so you can go back? When do you need to get this form done by? Does it have to be done immediately? And if it has to be done immediately, you probably procrastinated. So what you need to look at is, why were you procrastinating? Because just like the other video, a lot of the times people don't like to do things that they don't like. That's kind of obvious, but we need to figure out how to get done things that we don't like. A lot of times life is filled with a lot of boring stuff and a lot of things that we don't like to do, but we need to do those things because bureaucracy never changes, it never slows down, it doesn't really care about what your needs are, it cares about what its needs are and what it needs from you. So if you need to fill out some bureaucratic tape that's not enjoyable, figure out how to get it done, break it apart, see if you can do things one step at a time and save it. You might even want to go through it and copy and paste the questions so you can go back later and finish it out. Because like you can, a lot of the times if it's computerized, you'll be able to uh, go forward and even if you can't save it, you can copy and paste and move forward, and then just before you complete it, you can just erase it, and then you can have a copy and pasted onto a Word document or a Google Docs document or whatever kind of a Microsoft Word alternative that there is out there. Then you can look at what you really need to do and how long it's going to really take to do it. You you will have a deadline for this form that you got to get done. So you got to figure out, when is that deadline? Is, do you really need to fill out this form? Is it super important that you need to get it done? If it is, there will be a deadline. So you got to figure out when that deadline is. So then you need to set up some reminders in your calendar. And you put that in your calendar and you attach that calendar into your phone. So your phone bugs you every so often, reminding you that you need to fill this out and get it done. Whatever it is, if it's important, you're going to need to get it done, or you're going to have to deal with the penalties. You'll have to deal with the pain that that will be caused by not getting it done. So why is it not getting done? Is the pain too great? How can you lower the pain threshold? What can you look at that will be a reward that when you get this form done, that you'll be able to be rewarded by whatever this form is going to reward you with. So you need to look at what you need to get done. Um, so actually, I couldn't even myself, I had problems procrastinating filling out forms. One of my problems is that I don't like to fill in. I don't. Sometimes the options that they give me are not good enough for me because I want to think out of the box. I think out of the box a little bit too much for my own good because they're only giving you a certain amount of options. You got to pick the best one. It might not be the best one for you, but it's the best one. That's the option. So, you're gonna, if that's not the correct one, you're probably not filling out the correct form. So you're gonna have to go back and find another form. And so then you gotta make phone calls, you gotta write emails, you gotta talk to people about finding out what the right form is. Because if you don't have the right form, you could be filling out the wrong information. So you gotta make sure that you got the right form. You gotta break it down so it's easily understandable to yourself. Um, so when I was looking on the internet about filling out forms, all they were given, the best directions were on how to write forms. And what they're saying is you have to make, as a form writer, you should make the form as easy, as simplistic as possible while getting the most amount of information that you need that's essential. Because if you're asking for a whole bunch of extra information, you're not writing the form correctly. If you're not doing what's called chunking, so telephone numbers are chunked into, you got an area code, then you have your first three numbers, then you have the last four numbers. They're breaking it down instead of having to remember 3, 6, total of 10 numbers. You're remembering a total of three sets, which those three sets are made of two sets of three and one set of four. And then, so then you don't have to remember 10 digits. You remember three sets of three, two sets of three, and one set of four. And so the brain operates better that way because you're able to group things in smaller pieces, and then you're able to remember things typically. And so let's see, any be explicit. So hopefully the form designer is being explicit, asking for the exact information they need, and so and not offering you too many choices, because what they have is something called Hicks Law. Basically, people get confused when they're offered too many choices. That's why you get small, medium, large, cheap, middle of the road, expensive. Um, those are, the choices that Walmart offers you, Costco offers you, Target offers you, Amazon offers sometimes too many choices, and so the big box stores know you're there to buy. A lot of times people are looking at Amazon just to browse, and they're still operating well. So, but when you're in and you got your money and you got your wallet, the companies want you to buy now, and so they're going to only offer you three, maybe four choices. And then, because if you have too many choices, you more than likely will turn around, get all confused, and then leave because there'll be too many choices and you'll need to study for it. So if there's too many choices, um, you know, figure out what the best one is for you, figure out what the best choice is for you. So now that it's 10 minutes, I'm going to leave you with no other choice other than to like and subscribe, I hope, and have a good evening.